right, good morning and welcome to Danica and Cynthia's Education 2711 interview and expert interview with Dr. Eila Lindfors. So before we ask Professor Lindfors some questions, we're going to read a short biography about her and what she currently studies. So Eila Lindfors, a Finnish doctor who was born in 1963, completed her education at Eila High School in 1982. Followed by obtaining a Bachelor of Education from the University of Helsinki in 1986. Later, she pursued her studies at the University of Joensuu, earning a Licentiate of Education in 2001. Subsequently, she joined the University of Oulu's Faculty of Education as a didactics lecturer. In 2002, Professor Lindfors pursued further education at the University of Joensuu, where she successfully obtained her doctorate in technological properties of a textile product. Currently, she serves as a Doctor of Educational Sciences and holds the position of Professor of Craft Education at the University of Turku's Roma Teacher Training Institute. Recently, she has contributed to the book, The Bloomsbury Handbook of Technology Education, which was published in February of 2023. She shares her knowledge of technology education throughout this book, especially in Chapter 23, titled Risky Learning, How to Master a Risk and Safety in Technology Education Learning and Working Environments. So today we are going to discuss with Professor Lindfors about this article, and we're going to ask her a couple questions. Does that sound good with you, Professor Lindfors?
Yes.
Excellent. So our first question for you regarding this article is considering the potential for students to utilize tools and equipment in unexpected or atypical ways, how can teachers strike a balance between encouraging creative exploration and ensuring adherence to the safety standards within the learning environment?
I would say that these issues are not opposite to each other. First, if you use, for example, a knife, so you have to use it in certain way, not to harm yourself. And when we are talking about creativity, the creativity is mostly with solving the problems and creating the solutions, not that much using different kinds of tools. Sometimes, of course, you might invent a new type of using some tool, a new way of using some tool, but then you have to consider that how safe is that way of using that tool. So I wouldn't say that these are opposite to each other. And it also depends on the tool. If you use, for example, a machine tool, so you have to be very careful not to cut, for example, your fingers when you are trying to use the tool in a creative way.
Absolutely. So it's very much about like what the intended use is and how we can be safe using it if it does get used in more different ways than what we'd expect. All right, our next question for you is that you state in the article that to enable authentic learning tasks instead of mere simulations and paper and glue prototypes, there is a need for real spaces with up-to-date equipment and machinery. However, some schools lack the funding to purchase this equipment. What is your suggestion on how we can still provide authentic learning tasks to students in this situation?
I suggest some collaboration with companies. Because it might be that the companies would be interested to offer some tools for schools to create a workshop, or they might offer some place in their facilities that the students could come with a teacher, and so that the students could get an authentic experience about machines and tools. And you know, I visit with my student teachers in companies, so that they can see and experience by themselves that what kind of working places there are in the future for the students after they have finished university or vocational school. And once we visited one company, it was a 3D cutting company, and they cut it different kinds of metals. So they had heavy machines and very big ones. And we asked the manager there that what he considers to be the most important thing to be taught for students in comprehensive education, for example, in secondary education. And he said that it's mostly about the active way of hands-on making and using machines, so that the students have experienced that they have some experience of using machines. And he said that everything else you can learn, but if you're afraid of, for example, using machines, so it's an obstacle for you.
Absolutely. And the idea of getting involved with a company, even at like the in high school or so level, early university, it does create relationships that could develop into further work experience down the line. So absolutely providing those experiences to students, which could even change the course of their life.
And also, if there is lack of financial resources with tools, so the companies can provide the tools they don't need anymore, so they can give them for schools.
Yeah, that would be an excellent idea as well. Our next question for you is, how can schools and technology education programs encourage incident reporting? From understanding the dimensions of safety represented by these incidents, what information can be gained to help the teaching and learning practices in and of technology education?
So please tell me what question you have now.
It's our final
number.
Number 6. It's the final one.
Okay. Um, the incident reporting is not very known at schools. It's very known in companies, and when most of us have seen the signs in buildings that how many days without any accident. But in schools, we are not used to the idea that we would collect the incident reports. And actually, right at the moment, I'm running a very large school safety project in Finland, and I forgot the idea, you know. And in that project, we had the digital safety application, and some schools have understood the idea that they have, for example, for students, they have kind of reporting weeks. That there is, for example, 1 week, and the students report the incidents, and they take students also with analyzing the reports, and that I think that that is very good idea. Normally, in Finnish context, we right at the moment, for example, most teachers in schools think that it's the headmaster who has the responsibility, and that is true. But the headmaster can't make the safety culture. The safety culture has to be made with teachers and students. And in every school in Finland, there are like 10% of staff and 90% of students. So the students had to be taken in, and they have to understand, for example, in technology education workshops, why it's important to make the reports. And the teacher can take some reports, and they can invent together with students how to what changes has to be made to prevent the next same type of incidents.
Very much starts with the students at the student level to encourage incident reporting. All right, we're actually going to ask you one last question. So, how can the teaching of a safety culture and technology enhanced learning and working environments not only ensure the immediate safety of students, but also prepare them for a future in a career where having safety knowledge is vital? And what role should teachers and students play in achieving this balance?
um, you know, um, sometimes, or I would say that right at the moment, many schools are reactive. So it means that the schools and the teachers say that we carry out everything what happens, and there is not much prevention. So preventive, actions to be made. And I think that this is the question, how safety is being considered in everyday lessons. So, for example, we can have safety agents in every group who is making some checks before the lesson starts, for example. When there is some incident, we can discuss it together with the group. Uh, we can take some examples that what kind of accidents happens in work life, so that we understand that it's important to study these issues. So there is a connection, instant connection, between safety education and creating of safety culture in school and in technology education workshops.
Absolutely. And that's all we have time for today. Thank you, Professor Lindfors, for joining us, and thank you to our viewers for watching.